Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. And good morning. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Hope the show is finding you in good spirits again. I told you guys I'd be back with another one. I told you guys I'd be back with another live because today is a tight day. So, and there's a lot of information. There's a lot of things that are kind of popping off right now. And I wanted to make sure I get these stories to you guys as quickly as possible. So I appreciate you guys coming back again. You know, it's been a while since I've been on as much recently, and don't worry, it's just been the holidays and been doing a lot of red carpet events and a lot of interviews and all that as well. So, and getting ready for this Christmas special that's going to be coming up later on this coming week. So it's been a very busy one, but I still wanted to give you guys this information. Real talk, this information is, if you're following this case, this is interesting. And I can see why we haven't heard anything yet about a verdict. I'll explain everything in a second. But yes, thank you guys so much for being here. It really means a lot. Thanks so much for filing in. Get on in here. The water's just fine. Okay, you are in friendly waters here. Okay, I appreciate all y'all for being here and chopping it up with me. There was something I saw, but I want to make sure I find it again. I'll get to that in a second. But first, some housekeeping real quick. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Crush it, crush it, crush it. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Okay. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that reaction button, of course. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you're watching on all these other platforms, please hop on in, enjoy, comment if you can. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right. And then, of course, do not forget to crush that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, crush that follow button. If you're watching on any of these platforms, crush that follow or like button, whatever it's called. Do that for me, please. And thank you. Okay. You know, your boy's working hard out here in these streets. And, of course, hit that join button down below if you want to support the channel. And, of course, super chats and super stickers are always welcome, always appreciated. And yeah, you know, 'tis the season of giving, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into this conversation. All right. Okay. First off, I need to get this comment here, which I just saw. Now it's gone. Okay. Angel Nikki, thank you so much for checking out my new song. I really do appreciate it. Guys, if you don't know, I got a new Christmas song. Yes, I wrote and recorded an original Christmas song called I Can't Wait for Christmas. Okay. Me and a couple of my friends put this thing together, and yeah, it's really special. I think it has a nice vibe. Please go check it out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all the major music streaming sites out there. You can even find it on YouTube Music. You could play it in TikTok. You can use it on Instagram. It is available anywhere right now as we speak. So check it out when you can. You know, so it's less than 3 minutes long. So if you got 2 minutes and 45 seconds to just play a song, hey, by all means, go check it out. Okay. So thank you so much for that support. But we got to talk about this. All right. This is very interesting. And Nidabita, hopefully I'm saying that right, who's releasing this information, and why is it just coming out right now, or coming out now, or why is it just now coming out? They trying to get this jury in trouble. Let me tell you something. Okay, the reason why I'm reacting in such a big way, one, there's new released information or new footage that has been released, or it's out here for everyone to see now. I don't know how these places have gotten it, okay? But there's more to this story than what we have seen. And the reason why I say this is because this may be the reason why the jury is still out deliberating right now as far as the verdict in this particular trial, in this particular case. Jonathan Majors has not seen a verdict yet in this situation. There may be a verdict. They may come up to a verdict or to a decision by tomorrow, but we still haven't heard anything as of yet. So right now there's been, oh, Nita Beta. Sorry about that. Nita Beta. Thank you so much for your comment. And I understand your concerns because I'm curious about this as well. Because it all this stuff is now coming out. We got text messages that we're going to be looking at as well. Because I know that's kind of a few days old news type ish, but at the same time, it's still information that we should know. And I haven't covered it on the show, or haven't had time to cover it on this show. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things all combined in here. And of course, we're going to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane from the last show that I did, where we looked at the original footage that recently came out. Now, what's very frustrating about this is that there is a part 2 to this. There's a part 2, guys. This isn't just one moment at the car. There were other moments. There was another moment at the car. And then there's much more footage out here that paints a very interesting story when you are just a fly on the wall. It's very interesting. It's very odd. And now I got questions. And then, of course, you add the text messages on top of it. Man, I got questions. So I can see why the jury may be sitting out here going, so what do we do? Do we say guilty or not guilty? What we planning on, guys? What's the decision? Because you guys know what you're going to, what you're going to do, juror 12? Because juror 3, I have no idea. So are you? What's your decision? I'm still trying to figure it out. That's how bad it is right now because of the information that has come out. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to show you guys the original video that everybody and their mama has already seen. We've already seen it as a family, but I'm going to share it to you guys again. I'm not going to pause on this one. Okay, we're just going to quickly go through this footage because we've already seen this as a family in the first initial live that we did about this. Okay, but you're going to see car pulls up and all this stuff goes down. So car pulls up. All right. Clearly, as soon as he gets out, which will be any moment now, there's obviously an altercation. He picks her up. He puts her into the car. Literally physically picks her up and puts her in the car. And let's be real, he's a strong dude, and she doesn't look like she looks like she's skin and bones. Okay. So now, obviously, he's trying to get away from her. To me, which we've already talked about before, seems like she's really just trying to get the phone, because he got a text message that night basically saying, I wish I was kissing you right now. Something along the lines of that in a text message. And I don't know about y'all, but that's like an international red flag of your man or your woman is cheating. So clearly she was upset about it. She was trying to get the cell phone, and then he just books it down the road like he just stole her purse or something. Okay? Like he's auditioning for Get Out all over again. Just, because the guy he's running in Get Out. Do you guys remember that part where he's just booking it and he just turns right really fast? That's almost like he's auditioning for this. But she's still chasing him down, willing to risk her life crossing the street as cars are trying to drive down the road. Okay? But I'm telling you, he was just like, he's booking it like he's like the T2000 or whatever the hell it's called. Okay? So from my understanding, this is when they finally get to the apartment complex where his home is, where they both share a home, or I don't know if it's under his name or under both their names, but no matter what, they're there. She's talking to these two men, or it ends up being three people outside the apartment complex. She explains that she got into a fight or a disagreement with Jonathan Majors in the car. And then, of course, she's out here, kind of like, he done cheated on me and all that stuff. She's just kind of venting to these guys. This is from what we understand so far, right? And then, of course, she explains that whole thing again. Now, I do want to point this out. And, of course, I'm going to pause here. The right hand, and where she allegedly had the little cut, for lack of a better term, and behind her ear, the one that has been used for evidence and all that. That is the side that we're looking at right now. That's the side of her body. The hand that was bruised, that was injured, allegedly, and the ear are all facing us right now. I'm going to roll that back just one more time because we are going to be looking at that again here in just a minute. But if you notice, she's messing with her hair. She's talking with that hand. She was able to put a bun up with that hand as well. Doesn't seem like she's going, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, I'm in pain. But at the same time, there's more to this story. So he walks by. Clearly, he's like, man, I ain't effing with you. He keeps walking. Clearly, he's trying to cool off whatever he's cooling off for. Because let's be real. On the other outside of this altercation, he's the one who got caught cheating. Am I right? And he's angry. I mean, I'm sure he's angry because she allegedly lunged at him inside the car. But at the same time, he's heated. And it's like, yo, you got caught cheating, brother. You got caught cheating, brother. But okay, moving on. We got to get back into this, okay? Because we got to get into the new footage, okay? So he's walking down. He's doing his thing, trying to get away from her pretty much, but she is running after him. And that's all she wrote from the initial footage that was taken or brought out to everyone for all of us to see. But apparently, there's more to this BS. There's more. And that's what this is what's kind of frustrating me, okay? Because there's much more to this footage. And so we're going to be looking at a couple things. Now, this is going to be interesting because this also tells us a little bit of a timeline of how things went down. So let me pull this video up real quick. Hopefully everything's, because I can't play the audio on this, but I want to share with you guys the timeline in which they are sharing on this. Okay. So it says here, so around 12:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because this all happened in New York, okay? And I know it's really small, so it's going to be tough for you guys to read this, but it says Grace Jabbari, sees a text saying, wish I was kissing you. Jabbari testifies he twists her right arm, he pulls her finger, strikes her on the right side of her head to get his phone back. Major leaves the vehicle sprinting from Jabbari, who is running behind. Now, let me just say this. And we're going to continue on in this timeline thing. But the driver testified saying he saw nothing of that sort. So this is coming from just Grace Jabbari alone, just so you know. So look at all this. This is all footage. This is all footage from this situation. So we're going to be looking at this piece by piece, okay? So we already know about all this footage here, okay? We already saw this fight. We see at, like I said, 12:41, that's when she saw the text message, and one of them reacted. Clearly, she lunged for that ish. He wasn't for it. She claims he put his paws on her. He says he didn't. The driver who testified said he didn't. Moving on. And of course, we saw him running for his freedom, which is ridiculous. Then, I'm going to pause it here. Then at 12:50 a.m., Grace Jabbari, approaches two males on the sidewalk and is joined shortly after by a female. She tells them she's Jonathan Major's girlfriend, and that she got out of a moving vehicle because she caught him cheating. Let's continue. So we saw all this stuff. She is, and you can see she's operating her hand just fine, taking off her coat and doing all these things. She's putting her hair up in a bun using that very hand. As you can see, she seems to be doing fine, brushing the hair out of her face and all of this. There's so much more to this. It's insane. So we're going to go piece by piece. 12:54 a.m. Majors walks by, which we already know, and she follows. Then the trio also follows Jabbari because I'm sure, I don't know how they know these, if they know these men or this trio or not. But at 1 a.m., Majors and Jabbari get into a car and fight again. This is what I'm talking about. There's a part 2 to this story. Never have I seen the footage from this altercation. There was a second altercation in that car again. So much that his buttons pop off his off his coat. His coat gets ripped. And he leaves again. They both, he leaves again, trying to get away from her again. Jabbari's chasing after him. And the driver, because they left in such a hurry, the driver has to go around the car and shut the door again. Take a look at this. So it says here, Majors, Jabbari get into a car and fight again. Majors' coat pocket is ripped and his buttons had popped off. Majors leaves to catch a cab to a hotel. Take a look at this. More altercation. He's just trying to get away from what I'm seeing. Okay, moving on. There's more to this. This is crazy. Okay, so he gets out of the car. And it seems to me that he's trying to get as far away as he can from her. It's hard to see exactly what's going on inside the car, but at least when he's walking away from her, that is the international sign of he's trying to walk away. That's just what I see. Okay. As far as what happens inside the car, the cab driver is basically has said it multiple times, or like under oath, he said Majors did not put his hands on her. Now you can put that into your thought process if he was getting paid off, if this cab driver is getting paid off or not. But from every time I'm seeing this, it seems like every time he's trying to get away, she's trying to grab him, hold on to him. And it seems like she's desperately trying to maybe salvage the relationship. Okay. She doesn't want to lose him. Hence the reason why what happens later on when he finds her in the car, or in the bathroom, locked up, half naked. Okay, but let's continue. 1:30, or around 1:30, 1:29 a.m. to be specific, Majors arrives at the hotel in which he's trying to stay in. Take a look at this. He is looking at his face. He quickly goes into there. There's a mirror, as you can see, in this hotel elevator, and he's checking his face out to make sure he doesn't have any marks or bruises or whatnot. Let's continue. This is so crazy. So after all of this, remember, this is still like 1 o'clock. Bars in New York stay open very, very late. Okay, I know in your neck of the woods, maybe the bars close at 1:30. Some places close a little bit later, so on and so forth. Bars in New York stay open late. So she was running after him, all that stuff. He went to a hotel to get away from her and cool things off, stop being in this altercation. You got to remember, he is Jonathan Majors. He is starting to climb the Hollywood charts. Okay, as far as his name getting out there. So he went to hide out and stay away from all this. And yes, I mean, most New York bars close at like 4 a.m. They stay up late, y'all. Okay, but let's continue. So they say, literally, as this altercation happens, he goes into a hotel. He goes to a hotel. She goes out to the club. On God. Take a look at this. 1:33 a.m. Okay, so about 34 minutes after the altercation, or actually 33 minutes after the altercation that happened between him and her in the car, and he ran off. He went to the hotel, a hotel to cool off and get away from the madness. She went out to the club. See, this is the part that everyone gets very, very concerned about and starts sitting there saying, oh, she capped. She lying. This is all one big fabrication. She's a liar. She's a liar. She's a liar. Okay. And hey, I leave that up to you guys too. Because to me, I'll say this. I agree. I can understand the feeling of, wait a second. So you still went out. You still kicked it afterwards. If you were hurt, would you still go out to the club? And then the other part in my mind is, how drunk was she? How drunk was she when she was getting in that altercation with Jonathan Majors as well? Because remember, sometimes those injuries, you may not feel those injuries until the very next day, until you're sober. You go, oh man, what happened to my ankle? Oh, what happened to my hand? Type stuff. And then you go back throughout your night and you go, oh, that's what happened. That's why. Maybe I had too much to drink. You see what I'm saying? But nonetheless, whether she was rocked by this man or not, she still went out. She still went out. So let's take a look at this. 1:33 a.m. She arrives at Lucy's nightclub with the trio. So those three that she met outside the apartment complex, and a few more strangers. She is seen signing a receipt, drinking champagne, dancing, and using her phone. And she's using her hands. She's using the same hand. If you notice, she's right here. She's right here. And she's using the very hand that she says he, messed up to sign her John Hancock on a receipt. I am wondering, S-Dubs, if this was on his own dime or if this was on hers, but she has her own money. She comes from money. So I don't know, okay? I'm just here giving you guys the story. So let's continue. So that's 1:33 a.m. Let's continue. She's using her phone. Like, as you see, she's using her phone, all that stuff. Around this same time, during the same time, 2:02, Majors photographs his injuries from the car fight. Can you believe that? Now, listen. I'm gonna ask the question, because what, like, he's photographing everything as evidence. I mean, why? I mean, I get it, but part of me is like, wait a second. Does he know that she's sinister? Did she scream at him while he was running away? I'm gonna get you arrested. Whatever it is, like, did she say something? What would inspire him to take photographs of this ish? Unless they just have that kind of toxic relationship already, and they're just known for recording or taking photographs without them, you know what I mean? For evidence later. You see what I'm saying? It's so weird, y'all. This is so weird. But let's continue. There's more. Okay. So he photographs at 2:02. Injuries and whatnot. 3:08 a.m. Whole hour and a half kicking it at this club. She leaves. She hugs her friends and parts ways. Okay. And that is at 3:08. Jabbari arrives home at 3:25. She arrives at Major's apartment, calls and texts Majors 32 times, sending an alleged unthinkable text. I gotta use these code words, unfortunately. But she sent a text going, I'm gonna do something unthinkable at 3:25 a.m. So she went out, kicked it with her friends, Okay. She wasn't out there, wearing her FM dress, FM girl, FM. But she was out there kicking it, pounding the drinks, having a grand old time, trying to blow off the steam that trying to shake off the altercations that she had with Jonathan Majors. She was there for an hour and a half, just about an hour and a half. She said, okay, enough is enough. I'm good. It's time for me to get home. She goes to Jonathan Majors' crib, and as she's on her way or while she's in the apartment, she is texting and calling him, trying to make contact with him over 32 times. And then in one of those text messages, she says, I'm about to do something unthinkable. Yeah. Continuing. This is her going into the apartment complex. Footage that we've never seen. I've never even seen. Okay. Now, a whole 8 hours or some 7 hours later. So so I'm sure the phone calls, the text messages, whatnot, either were blocked or ignored, or he was asleep. He woke up the next morning and he returned to his apartment. As you can see right here. So apparently during this particular time, he was going back and forth. Okay. He went up there, as you saw, he got into the elevator, he went up, and then he came back down. So apparently either he lost his keys or something, but this is something that's very interesting. 34 minutes later, Majors heads back down to the foyer to get a locksmith to open his apartment. Paces to and from the reception back up to his apartment. So he just kept going up and down, knocking on the door, trying to see what is up, right? Trying to get information, trying to get her to wake up maybe and open the door. But this part is very interesting to me. He came home. This is his home, y'all. He came home. He went up to the door, to the apartment door. The door was locked. He could not get in. He was knocking on the door, and then he came back after 34 minutes, came down, started to call a locksmith so that person or whoever can come over and unlock the door for him as he's sitting there pacing back and forth. Interesting, right? Let's continue. And he does this for 34 minutes. Back up, back down, all that stuff. Locksmith unlocks the apartment. 7 minutes later, he calls 50. Now, we already heard the phone call, okay, the 911 call, but he's sitting there as he finally gets into the apartment. He goes in. I'm sure he's trying to find her so he can have a conversation with her and all that stuff. And he finds out that she is in the bathroom, passed out. In the bathroom by a toilet, passed out. So he calls 911 because he doesn't understand it, because she's, she doesn't have any clothes on from the waist down. She's on the floor, just out. So he gets scared. So he calls 911. All right? Because you got to remember, allegedly there was a text message that he received where she stated that she was going to try to make herself go bye-bye. So he gets home the next morning thinking everything, the dust will settle. I could talk to her in a coherent and diplomatic manner. I could tell her it's over and we can move on. We can, go our separate ways. Everything will be Gucci. And he opens up the door, goes in, doesn't find her in the bedroom, doesn't find her in the closets. Maybe she's packing up her stuff, doesn't see her in the living room or the kitchen or any of the little nooks and crannies that they have throughout that entire big ass apartment that they have. Okay. He goes into the bathroom and finds her there in that way, and then calls 911. And we already heard the 911 call. All right. But this now makes a lot more sense. Okay. We're now seeing more of a full-on timeline of how all this went down. Let's continue. So of course he's like, she's unconscious. I think she tried to do something. She's, she don't have any clothes from the, from the waist down and all this. This is my ex-girlfriend and all that. And he's sitting there like really concerned. And the funny thing is he hasn't changed not one iota of clothing. He is still in the same clothes he was in when he walked into that place. Why? Because he's sitting there concerned for her safety. At least we can say that at least we can say that. At least we can agree on that. He doesn't want her gone. And just remember, this is somebody who is clearly heavily under the influence, I think. I mean, I feel like she was already drunk when she saw the text messages. She got angry, blind drunk anger, was trying to get at him. If we're just looking at the side of like, okay, if on the erring on the side of he's innocent, all right, at least in this incident, all right, she was drunk. He got a text message. She saw it. She goes, "Who dat?" She finds out who it is. Most likely it was Megan Good. But anyway, she gets angry. She lunges at the thing, trying to get the phone. She's already drunk. So this is a blind drunk rage. He's trying to get away from her. Then there's an altercation. He goes home, or he goes towards the apartment complex, and he's probably like, I need to walk it off. Like I need to walk around in my neighborhood. I need some time to just chill. She's outside. She's talking to the other friends that are outside. And it looks like, if I'm correct, and I'm going to roll back here in a second, but it looks like they're outside and they're pre-gaming before they go out. They're already drinking. I think one of the dudes is drinking like an alcoholic beverage out on the side of the road. That they're about to go out and kick it. You see what I'm saying? At least that's what it looks like to me. Unless he's drinking a Red Bull, which it didn't look like that. It looked like he was drinking like a one of those seltzer thingies. You know what I mean? But anyway, he walks by. They're all looking because they know her and they're concerned. They know him. So they want to make sure everything's Gucci. Both Jonathan and Jabbari get into the car somehow. And then there's another altercation. He gets out of the car. He's trying to get out of the car. She's grabbing onto every piece of clothing he's got, and everything rips off or starts to rip and pop and all that stuff. He finally breaks free from her and goes to a hotel. But this is what's interesting. She's so drunk and so distraught about the fact that this man that she loves so much is cheating on her. The friends that were on the side of the road, I guess, watching this whole thing go down, say, hey, let's go out. Come with us to Lucy's. We're just going to go and have some drinks. Why don't we just go and blow off some steam? It's all right. So she does that. But I think she blows off steam more than I think we know. I think she gets extremely drunk. Drunk enough to start texting her now ex-boyfriend that she's about to go and do some unthinkable thing to herself. Because she's trying to get his attention, maybe, or it's a cry for help. I don't know what it is. But clearly it seems like she was so distraught and so upset. This happens. Okay, so he comes back home. Door's locked. He can't get in. Locksmith comes in. He goes upstairs, finds her passed out. And it doesn't look good. He gets scared. He calls cops. They show up, and she's here. And now she's awake. But even after this man still was getting arrested. I don't know. It's crazy. But during this time, he's taking photos, or not during this time, but during the time of the altercation, photos, or during the time of those altercations, and he went to the hotel, he still was taking photos of himself. The injuries that he had during this time. Pretty crazy stuff. Okay? Pretty crazy stuff indeed. Okay. Now I want to roll this back because there is a part that I'm just curious. Yeah. He's drinking it looks like a Truly's or a White Claw. Look at this. Yeah. These people are going to go out. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and look at the guy. Look at what he's drinking. He's pounding some sort of seltzer thingy. It's like a White Claw or a Truly's or something. I guess he's trying to, he's trying to maintain that girlish figure. But still, you could tell they're about to go out and kick it. And then, of course, we got to remember her hands seem to be just fine then. At this moment, she's fine. Maybe when they were in the car the second time around, let's not forget. Let me show you guys that again. They get back into a car again, and an altercation goes down. And he's like, he's trying to get away. So there could have been an injury that she could have gotten an injury from when she was trying to grab at his jacket. That could have happened. Does that mean he put his paws on her? Does it mean that there was going on here? Physical going on here? That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. But now we have that, right? We see all that, right? It's still very, very interesting to me. How this all, hold on one second, how this all went down. How it all went down. And we see that altercation of them, like having another tussle, which is so weird, man. I'm more on the side with I'm more on that side. I'm about to show you guys something here. See if we can see a little bit better in this way. Yep. I mean, honestly, to me, it looks like this is a situation where, and then of course the driver, they leave so fast, the driver just walks around and shuts the door. But to me, it looks like it's so bad, right? It doesn't look like physical to me. It looks like I agree with Nicole B. It looks like a toxic relationship. It looks like somebody else said something like, it's giving me Blueface and Krishan vibes. Yeah. It is giving me that vibe. Could there be a history between them of this kind of violence? I don't know. I can't answer that either. That's a question I leave up to you guys as well. But I do want to share with you guys, though, is this other piece, okay? Because there's more to this. Because apparently he calls himself a horrible man. In fact, he calls himself a monster in text messages that they used in court. Now, I know some of you guys may know about this and maybe you don't. So I'm going to share this with you guys. But like I said, with all that new information, with all that new footage that we saw, I look at it a little bit differently. I still look at it like, okay, I mean, he done bad. Okay, he cheated. He was cheating. But does that mean that he's the person who put his paws on her? The footage that we've seen so far does not look like he did that at all. I can see where she says that she got a head injury, like, in the back of her head. The only reason why I feel like that's the only part I feel like that's true is because we see him pick her up and put her in the car in the first initial car footage. And I could see maybe her head hitting the doorway on her way into the car. He's not thinking about that. He's just trying to get away from her. Maybe he's like trying to put her in the car and like get as far away as he can and shut the door and run away. You see what I'm saying? But we don't know what she did from the time that she got home from the club until Jonathan Majors showed up. There's so much more that could have happened. Now we see that nothing happened. There was no other altercations or people that she ran into, at least that we know of, from the footage that we see. We know we don't see anything from the time that she leaves the club back to Major's apartment. We don't see anything going on, like as far as like, maybe somebody tried to mug her or something like that. We don't see any footage like that at all. But it does show that it looked like she was fine. No pains, no nothing. Now, the scratch in the back of her ear definitely could have happened during the time of a tussle. When you have somebody going wild with their hands, trying to get at you, and all you're doing is doing this, yeah, something could happen. But does it mean it was made with malicious intent? I doubt that. I doubt it. The finger thing, she, with the pain in her hand, she still went out that night. She still used her hand. I keep thinking, what are the chances of her, at home and something happened, she made a mistake, whatever, close the door on her hand by on accident or something like that. I mean, anything is possible, especially when you're heavily inebriated. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that she's guilty or that he's guilty. I'm just pointing out these pointers, these facts, because I still have a lot of questions, and I can see why the jury is looking at a few things and still scratching their heads about all this, because the text messages that we are seeing now, or that we are about to see, paint a little bit of a different narrative. They most definitely do. So let's take a look at this too, man. Come on, man. We got to look at this, because he's calling himself a horrible man. He's calling himself a monster, because somehow something happened. She was texting him because she had some pain in her head. How she got the pain, like the head injury, we don't even know. All we know is that she hit him up to basically say, like, I need some stronger painkillers and I'm not feeling very well because of this head injury. And then his text messages that he sent to her are very questionable. Let's just say that. Okay. So it starts off with, if I'm correct, this is her. Okay, so she says, I will not go to the doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so, or don't trust me to. I promise I would never mention you, but I understand your fear. That's already bad. He says this: you can reject love if there is no real love. It's just lip service. I gave you love last night and this morning before I got out of bed. When you got up, you were not full of love at all. I didn't feel it at all. You could have just given me a hug or walked close to me or asked me if you could give me a hug, not the other way around. It works both ways. I will probably, and he says this, he says mill, but I think he meant to say the K. It's not really contemplating anymore. That's what he says in a text. Continuing on, he says, I'll probably do this unthinkable thing to myself. That's interesting that you would even say that. He says, I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I am myself soon. I've already put things in motion. Now, let me tell you this real quick. That is okay. If this is what he really texts this stuff, that is some manipulative, messed up stuff just to get what you wanted, like just to get what you want. That is some manipulative BS. Real talk. But moving on, Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm gonna have to call someone. I'm sorry for not hugging you this morning. I really am. I was sleepy and disoriented by the fact you thought I would break your necklace. I love you so much. Obviously, what do you mean you've put this in motion? Moving on. It's just fake, and you have fear. Sorry, and you have, I fear. Okay, and you have, I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. Why would he say this? Now, okay. Why would he say this? She says, I'm going to the hospital because the pain is really bad, blah, blah, blah. I need some medication, some painkillers for the pain that I have from my head. How she got the head injury, no one knows. All we know is that there's a text message, between them, and he's sitting there going, please don't go to the hospital. If you go to the hospital, they're going to start asking questions, and I am a name. She even says, I won't do that to you. I ain't going to do that. I'll say it's something else. She says, I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. If I go, I'm going to give it one more day. But I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? Very interesting. He says, I feel like you want to be together, as in to not embarrass yourself for everything you've said to your friends and family. Last night I considered doing this unthinkable thing to myself versus coming home. You said you needed love last night. I put my feelings aside and tried to give you that. I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster and a horrible man that I don't deserve it and should do this unthinkable thing to myself. This way of existence is miserable. I want to hold on. And I guess that's it. Now, when I see that stuff, first off, let me say this. Does this paint a picture of a history of violence between them? Yes. But does that mean he put his paws on her in the case that we're looking at right now? Why they're in trial right now has to do with the altercation that happened outside on that road. Now, but this still does paint a picture of him possibly doing some unthinkable things to her and being a violent individual. The audio that we listened to, okay? The audio that we listened to where he's like, I'm a great man and all that. All right. Even in that, I can see why. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I can see why they brought that stuff out, because they're trying to make it sound like this is a person that is a manipulative, toxic individual. I feel like that's the narrative that they're trying to bring up, that they're trying to paint for Jonathan Majors. The audio, these text messages, because even in this, I'm going to be real. Looking at the text messages, it's pretty damn manipulative. I'm going to be real. He's sitting there going, I'm going to do this unthinkable thing to myself if you go see the doctor. And he's trying to basically guilt trip her into not doing something that she wants to do because she's in pain. Allegedly. Now, I will also say this too. Who's to say that those text messages are actually real? But it does paint not so great image of Jonathan Majors. It's not great. It's not. But now, once we get the text messages, I can see the connection between the text messages and the audio on the perspective of the prosecution. I'm not sitting here saying I'm on their side. Trust me, I'm not. I'm still sitting on this fence because I want to see how things unfold. And the information that we are getting is not great. But when we see the footage of the altercation, I still don't think he put his paws on her in that way. I can see him protecting himself while she's just flailing, clawing at him, trying to get something. And he's just trying to move her away, push her off of him and all that. Who wants somebody clawing at him? I'm going to be real. Okay. But they're definitely trying to paint a narrative like he is a horrible man, like he is a monster, like he is somebody who just manipulates and tries to get people to bend at his will by throwing out, oh, I'm going to do this unthinkable thing to myself. But I will also say, it seems like they throw that phrase around like it's just air, like it's water, like it's nothing. Even her, she even said it too, allegedly. It's interesting that we haven't seen those text messages. We've seen only his. About a head injury that we don't even know where it came from. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Let me grab some of these super chats really, really quick. Okay. Leela, thank you so much for the 20. I really do appreciate it. He knew those cameras were going to capture him running his evidence. She is thinking he is cheating. I think she is a DV. I'm just saying. I worked with DV, and their actions sometimes make no sense. Are you saying that you think that she is a victim, or if she is the person who's doing it? You see what I'm saying? Is she the assailant or is she the victim? I'm wondering about that, Leela. But thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I really do appreciate it. Michael Parker, I appreciate this. Thank you so much for the 5. That text has absolutely nothing to do with the current trial. Please don't be a part of the fake news narrative. Well, it is not the fake news narrative. It is out here, and it was presented in court. But I understand where you're coming from. Absolutely. That's why I was trying to say a second ago that it's not part of what happened during this altercation and why they're even seeing a trial right now in the first place. But they did bring this up. They did put it out here to try to paint a picture that is not so great for Jonathan Majors, which I feel is the reason why the jury is still out deliberating, scratching their heads right now. I will say that. Thank you, K. Bragg, for the 5. The audio just shows that he didn't appreciate her coming home, wasted and bringing strangers into her house or into his house when he's a high-profile person. No, so yes, that also said that too. But I think they tried to use it for prosecution because you got to remember, to me, if you look at it the other way, when we listen to the audio by itself, it's kind of like I understood what he was saying. I agreed with what he was saying. She came home wasted, disrupted their peaceful home. He is a name. He's becoming a high profile person. She needs to act as such. She is connected to him. He is an extension of her and vice versa. And they need to move around in these streets as such. I agree. But when you see these text messages that the prosecution also put out, and that audio, then you look at the whole part of him being like the Coretta Scott King and the Michelle Obama and how he's a good man and how he's talking down at her in a way. I can see how they're desperately grasping at straws still, in my opinion, with that audio. But I can see how they could be trying to make it seem like he's trying to manipulate her and form her in the way that he wants her to be, showing that he's controlling and all that stuff. Even though I agree with what he was saying in that audio. I mean, you are on the way up, climbing the ranks, getting your name written in the stars, for crying out loud. And your partner's out here acting a damn fool, like she's like she's partying like she's still in college. It's like, no, you got to be smart out here. I agree with that. But now when you take that thing totally out of context and use that against him, they're trying to paint something completely different. You add these text messages as well. They're trying to paint something else here. And it's not great. It's still wobbly. It's not firm at all. It is not firm at all. But I can see it. I don't agree with it, but I see it. I see what they're attempting to do. And it's weak sauce, but they're trying. These text messages are not good, though. I will say that, especially ripped out of context. These are completely ripped out of context. Now they're trying to make it seem like something else. And it could be she could have banged her head while playing basketball. You see what I'm saying? She could have, you know what I mean? There's so many possibilities of what could have happened. And they pulled out this text message to make it seem like something else. I'm just saying. My dogs are really upset about this conversation. I don't know what's going on. Wow, they're mad. They big mad. Oh, my Lord. Hold on. Yeah, they are not having it. They are not having it. Hey, tranquilo, por favor. Okay, let's get into this. K-Bragg, thank you so much for the 10. They might get a little, amped here in a little bit, okay? But K-Bragg, thank you so much for the 10. Let me see. The pic they're trying to paint doesn't even make sense, though, because she testified that he never put pause on her ever before the incident. Exactly. There's a lot of things that she's saying, and then they put this stuff out here trying so hard to make it seem like something that isn't really real. So it's like, why put out this stuff? It's trash. But it doesn't make him look good, though, too. It doesn't, because they're pulling it completely out of context. Like I said, they're dropping you in the middle of the damn movie. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't put his paws on her or not, okay? And if he did, he should be reprimanded for those things, real talk. But at the same time, it's just interesting how this is being taken out. They're creating a false narrative for clout, in my honest opinion. Yep. I mean, you said it. You right. You're right. They're trying to make it seem like it's something that it may not be. Like I said, they're dropping you in the middle of the movie and going, this is where it is. With no explanation whatsoever to make it seem like something else. But yes, you're right. She did say on the stand, under oath, he has never touched me. He has never put his paws on me, ever. Interesting. The Orange Pill Nurse, thank you so much for the 20. I appreciate it. You're on the fence because 2022 text messages from a separate event with no context and redacted. You're right. She already admitted nothing physical, just like K-Bragg just said, before 2023, and don't give me that victims protect Ayers BS, at least in this. Well, I will say this. Let me keep this one up here. The only part that I'm on the fence about, because yes, those text messages are not great. They're not. And I see the altercation that's out that we've seen. I don't see him swinging his fists or anything of that sort. Okay. Now, when it comes to that, I'm not sitting here saying, I don't know where you're getting giving the victims protect Ayers BS. I'm not saying that at all. Actually, I'm not. Because clearly she's not protecting him at all. She was recording him way before this altercation went down. So, And I've asked before, why is she recording that as well? What's going on here? Right? Even so, with him, the altercation that they had while he was pulling away from her, he went to the hotel and he was still taking photos of himself. And in my mind, I'm going, why was that happening too? Why did that go down? Why was he taking photos? And I get it. I mean, or I can see maybe he was just trying to protect himself, or he knew that he was going to be in trouble of some sort. I really don't know. This seems odd. He was recording her. He was taking photos of himself. Then she was also secretly recording him, unbeknownst to him, while he was sitting there trying to tell her, like, stop showing up drunk at home. Like, watch your drinking. Your drinking is a problem type ish. You represent me now too, but I think that they're both clearly two manipulative individuals in a very toxic relationship. That's what I'm seeing. And of course, no one should be in that kind of relationship ever, ever, ever. Okay. But it seems like she was very, like, when it all went down, she was very desperate to try to get back in his good graces, or try to keep him there so she could just, I don't know, fight with him more or something. But I do think that there's some certain level of alcohol that was involved in that altercation too. I don't know how much Jonathan had in his system during that time, or if he had any in his system at that time to begin with. But I think that she had enough in her system for her to not really realize what she was doing and all that. So it is very interesting, this whole thing and how it's all gone down. I don't think the text messages are going to help with the jury. But again, notice jury is still out deliberating. They have not come to a conclusion yet at all. That's just something I find very interesting. And it may be because of the text messages and the audio that they received, which I still think is trash. But I don't know. Maybe they think the altercation that happened, the two different altercations, are more. I don't know. I don't know. It's very interesting. K-Bragg, thank you so much for the 10. He probably took the pics because he knew she was going to try to and set him up, which she did. But dudes stay talking about having standards, yet pick crazy every time. So, oh my God, you ain't wrong though. You ain't wrong. But the first half, I agree. I think he was just preparing for something to come, or it was a just in case she starts, just in case she starts something. I got footage. I got evidence. That could be it too. And again, I keep wondering, did she come out and say, like, I'm going to get you, I'm going to sue you? Remember, there was a lot of the huge altercation that happened twice. Then she was calling and texting him multiple times. So I don't know. Maybe she said something during that time. I don't know. People do people dirty all the time. The Orange, thank you so much for the 20. DA said the driver would testify that Majors threw her in the car like a football, but when the driver, their own witness, said opposite, they actually discredited driver in closing arguments, saying Majors paid the driver. Wow. Okay. Oh, that's that, and that part is interesting. That's news to me too. That's actual news to me as well. And as far as the closing arguments, what was being said in the closing arguments. So that's crazy too, man. Well, like I said, we're going to have to see what happens here as things continue to move forward. Tomorrow is Monday, by the way. Tomorrow is Monday. And we should find out. Maybe there's going to be, finally they'll deliberate, or they'll finally come to a decision tomorrow. And we will find out if he's being looked at as guilty or if he's being looked at as innocent. But still, they've been out since Thursday, or, they had Thursday, they had all of Friday, And now they're going to have Monday. And I still am wondering what's taking them so long, right? What's holding them up? Is it the evidence or information that they've given, that the prosecution has given, or no? That's something I'd love to hear and find out here too. What's slowing them down with the full decision? But we'll see what happens. But that's pretty wild. That last piece, what Orange just said, that's pretty wild. Whew. So that theory is right. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. That is the show. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is crazy. But I'm glad that you guys have expressed interest in hearing about this story, hearing about this information. And of course, as time goes on, we'll find out. Maybe they'll have something tomorrow. There's a couple things that are going on starting tomorrow. So, we got Ruby Frankie going and making making a court appearance on Monday tomorrow. We got who else? And we got this. We're still on verdict watch for Jonathan Majors. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what they say. And if that verdict does go down, you'll hear it here. Okay. But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. I appreciate all y'all. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook or any of the other platforms you are watching it here. Please do that. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button. Hit that follow button on my Facebook page and all my major platforms. Okay, all social medias. Go and do that. That'll be greatly appreciated. Go check out I Can't Wait for Christmas, my latest original Christmas song. Go check it out. I'm sure you'll really appreciate it. If you're looking for something that's going to get you into the holiday spirit, go check it out. Okay. But anyway, guys, have a great rest of your day. Keep it positive. Relax. Enjoy your Sunday. And I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. And yeah, get out of those toxic relationships if you are in them. Okay. There's somebody better for you. I promise. There's definitely somebody better for you. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Happy Sunday, guys. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.